Hopefully, it's showing the primary screen there. I hope everyone can see it. Okay. Well, today, this is part of our CED Office Hour Live series that we've been doing for a number of months now. And here during the spring, getting ready to go into the summer, this month we've been sort of relaunching, doing some introductions of the staff members within CED, Community and Economic Development. And today is my turn to talk about introduce myself and talk about some of the things that we do within my primary practice area. So one of the first things that is asked when you meet someone quite often is who are you, which is very basic, fundamental question, but we always want to know, who we are engaging or interacting with. And typically, when folks respond, you respond with your name and maybe your title or your occupation or what company you work for. And for much of my working life career, I've been practicing as a business lawyer. During the past 5 years, I've also been working here at Central State University as initially as a county agent, as the university's first county agent, and then that position was transitioned to extension educator. Now our educators are called extension educators, and so those have been sort of my title and my my name, but I think that it's important to recognize that we are more than our name and our title. And a few years ago, one of my children did a painting that they gave me, and it really sort of highlighted for me how many hats that we wear. And on the painting, they had several blocks that had different words, names that were different titles or roles or how they saw me, how my child saw me or sees me. And it really, like I said, just sort of brought to the forefront in my mind of all those different hats. And then when I look on it, in terms of my occupation at that time, I was practicing law. You can see the one small square. It's really almost one of the smallest ones there is green. It says lawyer. It's all the way over on the left. And then I think there's one that says teacher right above dad, and that one's a really small square. So it just makes you think, and teacher would probably go sort of synonymous to the extension educator. So it just makes you sort of highlight, how you see yourself and then how others see you. So it's important, I think, to sort of keep that balance, because we all wear, so many hats. But once you get to know someone, then you want to sort of know, what are you working on? So what are they doing? What are they working on? Are they have any projects that are happening? Any major deals or developments? Things of that nature. Well, as I look at this question, it sort of takes me back to a concept I was introduced to a few years ago that really had me thinking, and I started to share with some of the different business owners and farmers and the different organizations that we work with. And instead of saying, what are you working on, or responding to that, I think that it's probably good to start with why. And that comes up in the context of the golden circle, which was a concept made popular by Simon Sinek, which breaks down organizations and breaks down individuals' actions or their careers or activities into three primary categories. You have your what, in terms of what you do, how, how do you do what you do, and then your why, which is your purpose. Why do you do the things that you do? And that can be applied again at the organizational level as well as the individual level. And so, in terms of what am I working on, I think I would, sort of put it into this framework of the golden circle, and and start with why. But obviously, I think it's probably easier to start from the outside going in, and save the best part to last. So it might be good to just start with what, and what we do within extension, and within extension from my perspective as an individual extension professional. I look at it as create, educate, and activate in terms of what it is that I do. And the way that breaks down, when we talk about create, educate, and activate, we create, and I look to create community by identifying stakeholders and facilitating them joining together. And one way of doing that is putting on, programs such as this, where we send out emails, make calls, talk with individuals, and create this community that we're looking to pull together. There may be different communities, there are communities that exist, but what we're trying to do is to pull some together for some particular purposes. Then once you create that community, then you're looking to educate. You want to educate that community on various topics, issues, options, or solutions, that are available to them, and that comes from really a two-way street, back and forth, in terms of asking questions, responding to questions, just sharing information, things of that nature. Trying to find out what's really going on, what people really want, what people really need, and then offering some guidance to that. And then activate, which I think is one of the most important aspects of this, in terms of helping to get folks to move from just the knowledge and understanding stage to actually putting things into action. So you're looking to empower them, and then prompting them to actually take that step to do, change the behavior, change the conduct, or do some things that need to happen to change their conditions, circumstances for the better. So create, educate, and activate is sort of what I would sum up what we do. Now, sort of more specifically, as we do that, there is some content that we share, and within my realm of programming, it falls within some programs that we have: Ready, Set, Grow, and which is a business development program, and then also Primer, which is a disaster preparedness for small businesses program. And what we've sort of done is broken it down, where we have the business planning, 4-page business plan, just an introduction to that business planning process to get businesses and organizations up and going. Many times the business planning process can be quite overwhelming with the level of detail that is required, or that can be gotten into. And so we've developed a process to sort of get most folks, where they're able to at least get going and start pulling together that information that they'll need when they get to the level of doing that more detailed plan. And then also, as a foundation, talking about the type of business entity, be it sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or limited liability company, that aspect, understanding that foundational structure of the entity is something that all businesses and organizations and community groups should have some basic understanding about. At least the leaders of those organizations to have some basic understanding about that, so that they can make some informed decisions of how they're going to set up their entities or their groups, and how they're going to move forward with that. Now, so that's part of the what. That's part of the that content that we're trying to educate folks about. And and I mentioned about Ready Set Grow as a business development program. So within Ready Set Grow, I have those two topics that we just talked about there. But if you in terms of an overview of more of the detail of what we do with Ready Set Grow, or the content that we have and that is being developed, it really falls into these four levels of businesses or groups, organizations that we work with: entrepreneurs, startups, existing, and mature. And then as you look at this slide here, you see a series of modules and classes that fall under each one. However, you can have individuals or businesses that may, on the one hand, be what we call existing. And this is something that I've, encountered a few months ago when I was doing a program. They folks who've been in business a while. However, within the group, when they saw the offerings here, they recognize that there are some foundational things down at the entrepreneur and startup level that they either had not received, or that they would like to have sort of a refresher course on, that could be beneficial to them. So one of the things that we do within Extension and within CED, is to really do an assessment and get to know and understand what those stakeholders or constituents, what their circumstances are that we're working with. Like I said, you could be at one level, but still benefit from some of the others. So that is some additional content that we have. Now, what we did when I talk about the disaster preparedness for small businesses, what we're doing at this point is it's really sort of doing a four session series of those first two: the business plan, the business entity, and we're combining that with some introduction to the disaster preparedness for small businesses, where the two sessions, two modules that are listed here, where the 3 R's of disaster preparedness for businesses, and the planning for disaster, the business continuity plan. So as a way to provide that introduction, we give some of the traditional basic business information to sort of be helpful, but to get their attention, and then transition that into the disaster preparedness, which can be a little more dry at times, but it still is important. And by linking it with some of the other basic business programming that we have, the whole idea is to get that engagement and get that interest going, where the business owner can see the value of the disaster preparedness education as well. So that is just one sort of snapshot of some of the what that we do in terms of that content there. Now, what is really I think interesting here is to then start to look at the how. How do we do it? We talked about the content, the disaster preparedness, the small business development, but how do we do that? And in terms of saying how, it is the cooperative extension service, which is the tool, the mechanism, the process that we use to disseminate the content that we're talking about here, plus more content as well throughout our agency. So when we talk about extension, you say the Cooperative Extension Service and extension. So what is that? And one definition comes from the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. Through extension, land-grant colleges and universities bring vital, practical information to agricultural producers, small business owners, consumers, families, and young people. And when you look at that definition, in terms of the vital and practical information, but when you look at who it's provided to, there's really something there for every group that we speak with. You know, like on the call here today, I mean, there are folks who would fall within the agricultural producers area. There could be individuals who are small business owners, you know, on the call with us today. Consumers, most folks are at some level consumers, and then in terms of families, you know, that's going to be a pretty wide range of individuals that get touched there. And we have, I think we have on our call, we spoke a few moments ago with Donna Kirkendall. She's one of our FNEP specialists there. And then we have programming for young people. You know, so even though I may have dated myself talking about my recollection of BASF earlier, but there are young people that we work with as well, and we do that through our 4-H and youth development. So extension is this system, this mechanism that that helps us to get this information out, and it is one of the I would say one of the most unique aspects and really strong differentiator for the land grant system, which is primarily broken up into research, teaching, and extension. And Central State University, I think I may have mentioned it earlier, as a land grant, received that 1890 land grant designation back in 2014. Now, when we talk about the Cooperative Extension Service, we have a map here that's put out by the USDA, which indicates it has the dots direct to illustrate where the different institutions are located and what type of institutions they are. The red dots are for the 1862 land grants, the stars are for the 1890 land grants, and then there are squares located there for the 1994 land grant institutions. But they are spread across the country. Each of the states has at least one land grant, which would be the 1862, but they form a network of extension services across the state, I mean, across the country, and so while they have their local basis in terms of their operations, by being linked to the others, it creates a web of knowledge, information that can be transferred and brought into play from one state going into another to provide assistance on an issue that may have arisen for the residents there. So it is a really interesting and I think unique system in order to get information out and to touch folks within your territory. So in terms of the how it's done, so that's sort of the framework of that how in terms of the sort of the bones of it. Historically, one of the first extension agents was Thomas Monroe Campbell, who began at Tuskegee Institute as a cooperative extension agent, and basically helped to implement the Tuskegee movable school. And at that time, in terms of serving the agricultural aspect and needs of the communities that they were serving, they used what they called the Jessup wagon, and then they had where they would load on the different farming tools, different apparatus, and then they would go and teach these different practices to the farmers to help improve their farming techniques and to improve their production. In addition to that, during that time or shortly after that time, then they became a little more mechanized with motorized vehicles and still doing those different rounds. But you can see, looking at some of this image here, they also added women to the core of individuals who were going out, and they were addressing some of the sort of the home-based or activities and needs in terms of nutrition, in terms of those things that are happening within the home. And so it was being more holistic in terms of the approach there. All right. And so with that as like a base, sort of a general framework of what extension can do. What we do and what I have done since starting here has been a similar type thing. I don't have to ride a wagon or drive a bus, but in terms of getting out to the different locations that we want to present to individuals in groups, that has been a lot of what we do. And in different settings, you have classroom settings. We meet in different churches, such as this setting here with a community center and a church, with different representatives from different other stakeholders, other organizations. In different earlier, that photo that was from the Columbus, Ohio. This is up in this Cleveland area, and representatives from some of the federal agencies as well that we work with, and some of the local farmers, urban farmers that were in need of or looking for some of the information that was being shared. And we also, in terms of how we do it, we make information available at different venues, outdoors even, and set up the tables and displays and things of that nature, wherever the people are. Our goal is to get there and get the information to them. Could be inside of the high tunnels and in greenhouses, and then it doesn't always have to be limited to just those who are adults and who are doing the agricultural type work. We also have needs at time to share information with young folks. We mentioned about 4-H and youth development, but even within our CED program area, community and economic development, there are times when such as illustrated here, where we connect with young folks who are interested in learning about free speech. They were being involved and being sort of moved to participate in different protests and things of that nature. There were issues that they wanted to voice opinions about, and so we would share information about what that is. What is free speech? What is the First Amendment? What's protected? What's not protected? What are some activities or some ways or approaches that young folks can get involved to be active and engaged citizens? And so we talk about a range of things in that area. So again, it's taking that education, using our cooperative extension service, and taking that education, those topics out to the people and identifying those different groups. Again, moving on through here, other settings, wherever you can get a group of people and your topic, we can do what we do. So with that, that's a lot in terms of the how, but in terms of why, why is it that we do what we do, or why is it that I do what I do, since we're trying to be a little more personalized here. And my why is to promote and achieve legal, social, and economic justice for all people. And essentially, that is to change the world, doing my part to participate in that, changing the world for the better. And that was sort of framed quite nicely in the quote from Nelson Mandela, which I use quite often because it just just means that much to me. And his quote is that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And then that brings us, in terms of how impactful that is, I do believe that in terms of our theme for today, that education, is freedom. And so, with that, that brings us to the end of my little intro there. And what I want to do, let's see here, just open it up and see if there are any questions, comments, interrogations that anyone has. And part of what we do here is to with CED Office Hour Live is to provide an opportunity for that kind of interaction. In part, it came about from the CED team. Some of the discussions that we have, and we said this might be good just to allow other folks in the door, to come in the room and either hear or also just participate with us. So with that.
I appreciate the presentation. That was very informative. I think you had some really neat things. I like that golden circle. I think I'd seen it somewhere in the past, but it brings in a lot of just a process in a way, because I think a lot of times when I find myself involved in discussions with people, that why is what's missing. We'll jump into on what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, but we don't have everybody on the same page of why are we trying to do things. And that is so important a lot of times, to get everybody working together, on the, going the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
So appreciate that. Let's see, education, I agree, is freedom. It changes people's lives. I think from my own personal perspective is the same thing, being able to go to college and, get a degree, it brings you from a state of, well, poverty to someplace where you're doing quite well and you can help other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. I think thanks for sharing that, Gary. And I think that it in terms of that the education, it gives you that perspective to really to understand where you are, and maybe it will at times sort of calm I think some of the unrest that people have, like maybe you can tell that the grass is not always greener. You have some good grass right where you are. um, but that I think that's what it is, though, in terms of what we do, just try to spread that message, and to get engagement with a wider range of folks on that. So yeah.
I put the golden circle talk in the chat. If you want to hear more about that and get a couple of examples.
Oh, okay.
Difference.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like I said, I came across it. Someone was presenting one of my community stakeholders, and they were talking about that golden circle, and it really, it just put a framework on it. It's something that much like what Gary just observed over the years. Yeah, I've been in situations where you were talking about the what and the how, but no one really no one either knows or no one wants to talk about the why we're doing what we're doing. But that golden circle, it did just gave a framework, and a way to sort of explain that. But even when we had a program a month or so ago, where we were speaking with some of the urban farmers during the incubator program, and we talked about some of the business formation type issues, and part of that discussion was to evaluate who is at the table with you, going into this business, going into this formation of this group or this co-op or whatever it might be, and why are they there? so why are you there and why are they there? Because you all may be sitting at the same table, but you may have different reasons for being there, and sometimes those different reasons can coexist, but it may be that there is a divergence at some point as well. So it is good to know why you're at that table and why are the other folks at that table as well. All right. Um, let's see. I think we have Crystal and Amber in the room here. Are you guys able to talk at this time?
Well, while they're getting on there, Ambrose, I want to know about that comment from your child that you're a pack rat. I didn't know that about you. I got all the other stuff. I was like, yeah, that's him. That's Ambrose.
I was when I looked at it, that's where you're doing that full disclosure and being transparent. I was trying to come up with a way to address that, because I just see that I preserve history. No, no, I I think that I had a theory in my law practice that papers reproduce because it seems that you can clean your desk off, at the beginning of the spring, but by early summer, all these papers have just reproduced on top of the desk. So I think that the papers may be actually reproducing themselves. So so we have to do a study on that. So but I think that sort of along that line, um, talking about business practices and all. Uh, you can see someone must be coming up close to the house here. Um, I think that when you look at an office, and sometimes it looks like it might be in disarray with the different stacks of books and papers and all, but oftentimes, that particular owner of that office knows where things are. But the question is, can they transmit that or transfer that to someone else? But um, uh, but yeah, that's where that comes into play, Eric. All right. Uh, there's a question. I think someone's asking regarding the classes and programs that are offered. Is there a mailing list that we can share with others? Uh, we are putting together a mailing list. I don't know. Do we have on our site, Eric? Do you know if we have a um, mailing list request link?
No, we
Hey,
should.
hey, Ambrose, this is Amber. We're putting together that link now, so we will have it. Um, since we have your registration information, we'll make sure to get it out to everybody who's attending today.
Okay, thank you, Amber. So
We
that that
having
is in the works.
we will have quarterly newsletters going out, and so we are. If you have folks that you want to receive information about these programs, let us know because we will add them to our list.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad my team is on. All right. Um, Eric, were there any other questions that you saw? I didn't. I don't see any others.
No, not in the chat.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see here. So, just sort of a general question. I'll put it back out to you all. Do you have any a why for yourself? For you and your occupation, or you within your company? Do you have you all thought about it from your own individual perspectives, or even if it's not necessarily shared with your coworkers? I mean, do you have something that guides you in the work that you do?
Interesting, question there. I guess, So maybe I didn't really introduce myself fully. My name's Gary Schmitz. I work with BASF. I'm a regional technical service manager. So I have the Midwest. And so what we do is technical support with our customers, which is kind of an extension, education, and so our mission really is to help people. So, to help them with farming, whether they're growers or whether they're retailers, we're trying to help our customers be able to, do things easier, better. And so that's kind of what our mission is really to help. And so, if I don't know if there's anybody here on the line that we could potentially collaborate with and the, CSU extension, we would be very interested in doing that.
Well, I think that definitely connecting with Extension, be it with CED, Community Economic Development, or with the Ag and Natural Resource, I think that there is potential for some good synergy and opportunities there. So I think that we definitely will be following up. So
Great.
so within the when you talk about the different products and things that BASF offers now, um, and you mentioned, I think you mentioned some of the other extension services or universities. How have you engaged with some of the other extension services, cooperative extension services?
Typically, we would engage with the other cooperative extension services or the other land grants through research collaboration. So we would work with them to set up research projects where they would, either test our seed or our chemistry and see how to best use that, and then that would help them in making their recommendations, and for us on making our recommendations to growers.
Oh, okay. On the research side, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But it ends up extending to the extension side,
Right,
on recommendations.
right. So in terms, is it do the products have utilization outside or beyond traditional, or just agriculture, or what folks think of as just traditional agriculture? I mean, is there, because when you talk about the research, I think you talk about the chemicals, um, and then with the history of BASF, is some of that still used at all, or?
Well, I primarily work in our, agronomic crops. So like for the Midwest, it's corn and soybeans, wheat, and then you get into some of the other crops. And then we also have specialties. So that you can use in the specialty crops, which would be, go up to Michigan, and grapes and apples and things like that. We do have homeowner products, but I'm not sure where you're asking where we also, we have other products, but BSF's really basic. They make a lot of the inerts that go into other products, like the paints that go on cars. We make that, that kind of stuff.
Okay. 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 Excellent. All right. So does anyone else have any thoughts or questions they want to put out there on the table? All right. Well, I do want to thank you all for attending today, because I'm all for. I know we're scheduled for an hour, but I'm all for if we can end the meeting early. No necessary. It's not necessary to beat a dead horse. um,
This is
you
Amber.
know.
This is Amber. This is Amber. Real quick, I do have a couple things that I
Okay.
want to say. Just wanting to let people know what is coming up next month. The Small Business Administration has their small business kicks off May with the first week of May as their small business week. And so we're looking at that as Small Business Month. And we will be kicking off our CED Office Hour Live the first week with Melanie Bryant. She's with the Bureau of Workmen's Comp. And we will be talking about the resources above and beyond just filing a workers' comp claim. They do a lot of free things and resources for small businesses and throughout Ohio. Um, and a lot of their services are free. And then the following week, we will be having Terry Bowden from the Small Business Administration, and he'll be talking about some of the programming for Ohio businesses. The third week, we will have a millennial, Miss Morgan A. Owens of Morgan A. Owens Brand, and she will be focusing her time on talking about being positioning your business not only with your marketing and branding, but positioning your business as an influencer to grow your business. And then we will cap out the month of May with Pastor Brian Walker, and he will be talking about how to make your small business more resilient, as well as growing your business through things such as a pandemic and post-pandemic. So just wanted to point out that we're going to be talking all things small business, but we're going to come from a different perspective and really talk about practical strategies that you'll be able to apply to your business and or organization, whether it's nonprofit or for profit.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Amber. Thank you for sharing that.
Amber, who was that first one? Who's the first speaker?
The first speaker is Melanie Bryant,
Yeah. Okay.
and she's with the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation.
All right. Yeah, it's always a good presentation when Melanie participates when she shares the information. It's real helpful because especially because of how unique I think workers' comp is in the state of Ohio, where it is it's statutory and it's required to be done through the State Department Bureau of Workers' Comp. There's no private workers' compensation in the state of Ohio, so it's a real interesting information that she shares on that. So, all right. Well, thank you all for joining us here today. And we have your emails, and so you'll get notification of the next sessions that Amber made reference to. And feel free to join us at our next CED Office Hour Live. All right. Thank you.